All right, we're going live. All right, and I think we are online. What is up, my beautiful tree bowl? All you tree lovers and tree caregivers and such out there, welcome to Ask an Arborist. We are live for our 30th episode where we're going over your great tree questions right here on our Facebook group, Ask an Arborist. We also, sometimes we get emails and questions come in from our business pages and things like that as well. Sometimes we like to share those with you. But today I wanted to start out talking about a subject I don't want to talk about, you guys. It's something that maybe some of y'all saw some stuff go down last week. Some crazy stuff happens. So I want to tell you, first of all, a little bit about my industry, right? Is you don't have to get a degree to go into arboriculture. You don't have to really know anything about anything. You can essentially, we're an unregulated industry. So that's a problem in my book. I would like to see that problem resolved one day and actually get regulation put in place. But unfortunately, because it kind of is the wild, wild west, sometimes you get some cowboys show up. And I only know this because I'm a tree guy, right? I spent, somebody was accusing me last week of, oh, well, he's never touched a tree in his life. Well, guess what, guys? I spent 18 and a half years climbing trees professionally, almost full-time most of the time, or full-time most of the time, almost full-time the rest of the time. I did run a company where we got to a point for about 2 years where I did not spend a lot of time in the trees, but my guys hated it. I still scheduled every Tuesday and Thursday to go play with the boys, and I messed up their rotation. So whenever you're in a tree crew, you get used to a certain way of doing things. Everybody gets to know each other, and you become like family. And unfortunately, because of that, our industry tends to attract a lot of the derelicts in life, the people that you hear about on Jerry Springer, the people that, are X this and X that and X the other, some people with mental instabilities and et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm not knocking anybody on there. I'm a little cuckoo because quite frankly, you have to be. I think there's a little bit of health in that when it comes to climbing trees and playing with chainsaws all day, every day. There's a little bit of not right in the head that I think that needs to be happening. But also we're a professional industry and there are certain standards that we like to abide by and certain ethics that we like to abide by. So all that to say, last week we had a guy come on to our Facebook group. Maybe you saw him. I'm not going to mention names at all. And a post like a week prior, he came on and just started arguing with everybody. Well, my wife and I caught on and we shut the comments down. And then we went back through and just shut comments down on all the questions that had been answered by me personally that had good other answers on there as well. Because we just don't want that kind of banter in here. Now, just so y'all know, we have a lot of Facebook groups as an industry. There's Climbers Online. There's Texas Tree Climbing Club. There's all these different, I see you don't know SHIT about tree care. There's a host of them all over the interwebs, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. These groups are out there and I play too. I'm a tree guy, you guys. So we'll go on there and we'll just have guy banter back and forth. But I want to make it very, very clear. This is not that group. We're not going to do that because what we are here at Ask an Arborist, we're here so people can ask arborists, people that love trees and live around them and live under them. That's what we're here for, to be a safe place where you can get good quality science-backed arboricultural advice about your unique situation. And of course, if you have a certain situation where you need a closer look by myself or somebody else, we want to make sure to point you in the right direction. And we can even do some in-house consulting digitally, essentially like telemedicine for trees. We take a look at your trees, we figure out what you and your trees need to coexist and thrive together, and we help guide you in the right direction. Now, that doesn't mean we're on site and can be there to physically do the work. So we're working actively right now to create a kind of a list, if you will, of people all over the U.S., and it would be like a preferred vendors list where we're going to vet each and every tree company out there that could potentially be on this list and make sure they don't do things that could hurt your trees or you as a family. We want qualified, experienced professionals only on that list. We're working on that. It's not ready yet. We'll have a lot more time this winter outside of busy season to work on that, and we'll give you some great resources moving forward. But I just want to make that very clear. We are not going to tolerate drama on here. Well, fast forward a little bit. I shut these comments down, and unfortunately, this guy chose to attack me, chose to attack Lucas here, chose to attack other arborists in the group. And quite frankly, there's actually a couple of legal actions being taken right now against this individual. It's very unfortunate. We don't want that. And actually, I want to promote a healthy professional environment amongst myself and my peers in our industry in tree care. And so I actually am a small group of people, part of a small group of people in arboriculture that are actively working to get tree care regulated. I know, dirty word. I'm all for smaller government, bigger individual. But however, I think I have lost a lot of friends in this industry, and it's just one of those industries that you really need to know what you're doing to be able to participate, or else it really is. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for being here. Let's get right into your great questions. Just so you know, too, a little sidetrack here. I like to check this number periodically because we have been growing so stinking fast, you guys. I think at one point we got up to almost 350 people incoming every single week. Now that's 50 a day for those of you that are mathematicians. That's a lot of people coming into this group, especially for a punk tree guy like myself that loves people and loves trees. It's been hard to manage. However, we're dealing with these things as we go along. So we really appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, last week we had 159
visitors.
What is it?
470 members. So we are over 4,000.
That's Lucas talking, by the way. He's my right-hand man, and he helps to mitigate a lot of these things that are going on in the group, by the way. So y'all don't come after him either because he's with me. So what Lucas was saying, I don't know if y'all could hear it, 3,470 members currently, and only 175 of those are my friends, by the way, just so y'all don't think I'm biased or anything. Visitors 979, so we're almost to the 4,500 member and participant mark. That's wild, because especially since we really didn't start growing this until about 3-4 months ago when it really started to pick up. Before that, we were just limping along, answering the occasional question. But once we started ramping up, that's when it got crazy. And that's when we really started having all these problems. So like I said, we're actively dealing with them. And we really appreciate you guys being here and being a part of this, even through some of the drama. We're always going to get that, but we're always active to make sure that you guys are taken care of and not attacked. That's just gross. So with that being said, let's get into our questions. So Anonymous is asking, hi, I was just wondering if one of was to get an arborist report on bamboo plants planted inside one's property in front of a fence line, would that arborist have to come into the property to make the report? Or could you do it looking over the neighbor's fence at the bamboo plants? That's actually a really good question. Do not trespass. That's the first one. But also, yes. You don't have to be over there. If you've got a plant and you can identify it growing on the other side, and we all know from the research that bamboo is invasive or can be, you can absolutely get that from the from your side of the fence. It's always best though to get that picture from your side of the fence. Do not trespass. That your side of the fence rather. Don't trespass. Whatever you do, that's very, very bad, and you can actually be held liable instead of the perpetrator being held liable. So you don't want that in your life. And if you do want, I'm happy to help you myself. We can always hop on a digital arborist consultation and answer your question that way. So what's up, Michael G? That's Michael and I. He actually stopped by a volunteer job that a friend of mine and I were doing at his church. And we were just removing a couple of very unalived trees. And Michael was so sweet. He was like, happened to be passing by the area, stopped by and said, what's up? We got a cool selfie out of it and made a few memories. Got him reconnected with a good friend of mutual friend of ours too. So yes, that is absolutely right. Michael's spot on. We're going to keep this positive here, you guys. We're going to keep this free content a blessing to y'all. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better, Michael. Thanks again for being here and being a part of this group, buddy. So that's that. Let's move on. Yeah, I can help you, Anonymous, if you want. Maybe I'll shoot you a message later on. But yeah, you should not trespass. Very bad. All right. Other Anonymous is asking. My dad had these 2 large poplar trees bases covered with a foot of sawdust for about a year. That's not ideal. Y'all know me. I moved it off the trunks and hoping that they can recover. Some of it had started to break down and was dirt with the tree already sending small roots. Yep. And I think Ronald's probably right. You're probably not a lot to be concerned about. What you may want to do is just take like a fiberglass probe, if you can get a hold of one, Anonymous, stick it down in there and just poke at the roots, see if they are soft and squishy. You might even want to like pull some of that dirt away. What you're looking for is like the big roots, but if it's only there for about a year, I think you're probably okay. Let's take a closer look, you guys. Oh yeah, you can see some of those fibrous roots down there. So yeah, cover them back up so they don't dry out and desiccate, but only leave like about an inch. Don't only cover them up with about an inch. Don't cover it up more than that. That could be damaging to the roots, but I think they should be fine. Yeah, if you want, we can always take a closer look in person, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. What you don't want to see is like root decay, because if you've got decay on there, that could, especially that close to those poplars, and poplars are not the best compartmentalizers, by the way. So yeah, it may be good to just probe around in there, see if it's soft and squishy or if it's pretty solid. And as long as it's pretty solid, I think you're fine. I wouldn't worry about it too much. What on earth? What is that? Ask your son. I don't know. All right, so here's a question for all you other arborists. What is going on here? That is crazy looking. That's a spruce, I believe. Yeah, I think that's a spruce. Okay, this tree in Sweden, spruce. Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. Let me take a little closer look at that. Pernilla. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm not sure. Let me take a look a little closer at that one and maybe get back with you, because I'm not really sure on that. That's crazy cool though. Looks like you could almost just climb it. Yeah, like a giant Hercules club. Yeah, that's right. What's the name of it? Xanthoxylum. That's right. Clava. Xanthoxylum clava, or Herculean club. Yeah, that's, oh man, those are tough to climb too, Michael. I don't know if you've ever partaken, but they are real tough to climb with all those daggers. I'm not a fan, honestly, but they sure are cool trees. What he's talking about is Herculean club is native here in Texas, and we see it periodically out in the forest, not very often in somebody's backyard. And that's why, because you got these giant spikes. The Hercules clubs, those are actually, they'll poke you. They'll stick you pretty good. All right. Sorry, I'll get back to that one, Pernilla. And maybe I could have some answers for you. But to me, it just looks like kind of the way the tree grew. I know that's not a scientific answer, but let's take a look at Carl's. Carl's asking, please let me know if they can be saved. I have 2 on my property that have been absolutely butchered. I see that. For some reason, the tops were cut clean off. Now the trunks are unaliving and rotting all the way to the ground, and the sapwood has created new branches. It seems to me this would be very weak and could blow apart in a storm. Also chime in if you know the species. That's not spruce. No. What is that? Let's see. Is that a pepper tree? I don't know. Let's see. Kind of looks like a pepper tree to me, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Skyness mole images. Shyness. I don't know. Y'all don't get me lying. Yeah, it looks like a pepper tree to me. Let's see the bark. California pepper tree. No, we're not going to search. Sorry, y'all. Why, Google, why? I hate when it does that, when it like doesn't fully load and then you go to click something and it changes on you. Yeah, I think that might be a California pepper tree. Let's see. Kind of looks like it, y'all. Kind of looks like it. A little rougher bark, though. I don't know. I may be wrong in that. Let's see what robots have to say. Delicious. Oh, that's a good point. Yep. Honey. Yeah. Honey locust. I could see that. I could totally see that. Let's see. Could it be a California pepper tree? Sorry if I'm boring you guys. No, definitely not. Okay. Yeah, I'm wrong. Okay. So it's saying honey locust, and I could totally see that. I just don't know if honey locust is native, or they seem like most places in California they'd be able to do well. Yeah, foothills of Southern California. Yeah, I could see that being a honey locust totally. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. You definitely have an issue here. I'm not there seeing the exact details, but it looks to me like you have a single trunk here, Carl, and all of that is going to affect the structure of the remaining portions of it. And so, for example, it does look like the tree has grown. It does look like it's done a pretty good job over the years. By the way, for those of you watching, this has been there a long time. Carl, I don't know what your history is with the tree, but yeah, that's been there a long time ago. Those trees were topped. And very bad. There's a bumper sticker you can get from treesaregood.com that says topping is bad. So trees are good, topping is bad. But yeah, that was horrible pruning. Whoever did that. What I would not do is cut any more of the green tissue, except if you plan on keeping it. And this is one of those we're really going to have to take a closer look at this tree, buddy. I hate to say it, but myself, or if you can't get help at Arborist on Demand, please get help somewhere. I'd love to take a closer look. I do think that you've probably got a structural issue, Carl. I hate to say that, but you might want to get that addressed because that decay is not slowing down. And just behind where the decay is, you've got some serious house going on. So if something were to fall, I say it all the time, sprouting arborist, I think you quoted me on this the other day, said if a tree falls in the forest, who cares? He quoted that on one of my videos that I posted on YouTube. By the way, for those of you that don't know, I am on YouTube as well. We do all kinds of fun activities where we teach you guys about the trees you love and live under. And one of the things I love to say is like, if a tree falls in a forest, who cares? And so, this tree fell over, so we made it magical. Y'all want to see it real quick? It's like 60 seconds, I think. And that's the kind of stuff I like to do is as I'm out in the field, Tom Bombadil cares. You big old nerd, you, Michael. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I respectfully agree. I love that reference, man. That's hilarious. Lucas probably gets it too. The Lord of the Rings series. Anyways, fantastic joke there, dude. That's great. Tom Bombadil cares. I love it. Okay, so yeah, that's just the general rule. If a tree falls in a forest, who cares? If it falls on your house, a lot of people care. So unfortunately, this started growing with a weak structure. They topped the tree. Now that decay, being on the back side of that lane, so like trees leaning this way, your decay is on the back side and your house is under here. That's going to greatly increase the likelihood of failure on that side. So there may be things you can do to preserve that tree a little longer, but I can't say in the state that it's in that I would trust it to be structurally sound enough to sleep under it. So Just saying. Like I said, I posted the link to my to sign up for a digital arborist consultation, words and stuff. And I'd love to help you out, Carl. But yeah, that's right now, current state, not a structurally safe tree, I don't think. But I could be wrong. Anyways, all right. So Anonymous is asking, Central Arkansas maple, is it sun scald? It is not sun scald. That part the part affected faces west. No, you got a much bigger problem than sun scald, pal. I'm not. Yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. This is a poorly planted tree. And this is some of the pathogens that can attack a poorly planted tree. Now, for those of you that know me, I love NCA 300 standards. They're brilliant people, came before me and wrote these standards that smarter men than I, far smarter men than I, have come out and they figured out what are the best practices for managing trees. There are a lot of things that are up for debate. The NCA 300 standards are not. And one of the sections in NCA 300 standards is actually how to plant a tree. One of the things they say is the planting height. You've got a tree that is planted way too deep. That is going to cause what we call the teacup effect. And let me go ahead and draw this out for you, Anonymous, just in case. This is important. So when you plant a tree, most people, they've got a container. And imagine that's not actually the container, but that's just an example, just a representation. That's not the actual size of it. What I'm doing is I just want to demonstrate some things. So one thing that's very important is when you plant a tree, you've got to plant it where it shows the root flares. Those are codified standards, both in nursery standards and in tree planting standards, NCA 300, like I said. So whenever that tree's planted, the root flares have to be showing. Very important. Ooh, I don't know how to spell, y'all. All right. Another thing that it talks about is the planting width. One of the things that's very, very important is planting it 2 to 3 times the actual diameter of the planting container. So, for example, if you've got a 12-inch container, you want 12 inches on either side or more. You can keep going. But what's happening is when you break that soil up, it's going to allow oxygen into that area. That will cause the roots to grow way better, and you will have less transplant shock than if you leave it alone. These things make a real difference, you guys. When you plant a tree right, you're going to have a much higher likelihood of success with that tree. So just a couple things there. So getting back to Anonymous's tree here, we've got too deep. We've got obvious water issues. Now, I say that, backtrack a little bit. Let me clarify what I mean by that. What you're looking at is, we would call that a bleeding wound canker. Now, that can be from several sources. That can be from fungal pathogens, or that can be from bacterial pathogens. Bacteria, generally, like bacteria wetwood or slime flux, are not going to be extremely harmful to the tree. They just smell like bad. It smells like sweaty, rotten feet or something. I don't know. It's gross. You don't want that if you can avoid it. The fungal pathogens, that could be something like a Phytophthora, occasionally of things like, not hypoxylin, but Fusarium, Verticillium can often do those bleeding wound cankers. Most common, I see it with Phytophthora, though. So what you want to do is take a sample of that, send it off to your local agriculture extension, and have them give you a diagnosis on it. Now, I've made this list of all the different U.S. agriculture extensions. So just find your state on there, give them a shout, and let's see maybe if they can help you identify what pathogen that is. And then, of course, if you do get a good result or a good answer from them, let me know, and we can take it from there. So if you do get results back, we often do lab analysis and soil sample analysis to help you make good decisions about your trees after you've gotten testing done. Or we can always just help guide you along with the testing as well. So hope that helps. Not sun scald. That's actually bleeding wound canker. Could be bacteria. Could be fungus. We don't know yet. Send it off. Oh, Central Arkansas. Okay, so that'd be University of Arkansas, I believe. Let's see. University of Arkansas. Yep. So contact those guys. They're anonymous, and hopefully they'll be able to help point you in the right direction. Also, let me know once you do, and I can always help guide you through getting the root flares exposed as well. We'll do that sometimes where we'll actually get on a phone call, a Zoom chat, and I'll guide you along the process. All the time we do that. All right, so Linda's asking, moved into this house 2 years ago. In the last 2 months, storms had 2 months. Storms had 2 large branches fall off. The first one was mostly unalived. This one looks healthy until you look at the point where it came off of the tree. Is this normal for a maple tree? Yeah. All right, we don't know where you're from, Linda. Okay, so yes, it's normal for maple trees. Sorry, that was a little underhanded joke. Maples are not great at compartmentalizing depending on where you're at. That's why I looked at your profile to see, does it tell me where you're at? It doesn't. That's okay. What you've had here, this happened, Linda, a long time before that limb broke. This was not a sickness that got in and all of a sudden limbs were breaking like crazy. This was decay that entered probably from some sort of a wound or a pruning wound years and years and years ago. The reason I know years and years and years is if you look here, I can see some of this compartmentalization tissue that's sort of like tree scar tissue, and we call it callus wood tissue. That's been going on a long time. But you've had some sort of chewing insect in here, looks like some fungal pathogens that have gotten in here. And so probably what happened, a limb was pruned or broke off in a storm years ago. The tree's been trying to recover it. These are new sprouts, by the way. I don't think those would have been original. I could be wrong in that, though. But new sprouts coming off of a decay point. They get taller, they get heavier and longer. All that leverage is going to make it more prone to failure. Finally, the wind's whipping it around, and it breaks at that decay point. So I did do a video just recently about that. Let's see what I got. Somewhere in here, y'all. I promise. That's funny. Where did I do that one, Lucas? Do you remember? The one where I showed the limb breaking? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Limbs break when you prune trees for looks, not structure. So check out this video. This is kind of, I think, what's going on for yours. I don't know if that was from a branch breaking or what. That it looks like you've got a weak structure here. Oh, I think I was wrong. Yeah. That one is not the same actually as this one. That's a different limb. So that's, I think, what happened here. This, I think, was totally separate. But here's the thing, Linda. Trees will actually shed off leaves that they don't need, branches that they don't need. And Michael's right here. Really weak branch union. 3-on-1 one joint. This joint isn't big enough for the three of us. Ha! Fantastic. I love it, Michael. Brilliant. This is normal without pruning and care. Yes, totally normal. The tree's going to shed off what it doesn't need. We call them sinks and sources. Sources provide resources. What's up, Justin Grego? Justin was one of my first employees at my company in Dallas, and he went off to become a bad A certified arborist on his own. So well done, buddy. He's a good dude, though. If you're in Dallas and need a good arborist, Justin is a great guy, and I taught him. So hopefully he hasn't swiped from that. What's up, buddy? Glad to have you here on the chat, man. Thanks for being here. So we're just talking trees, y'all. We're just talking trees. By the way, Lucas is playing around with some really cool technology and whatnot. And he came up, let me see it. So I made a video a while back on radial trenching. So he went on, used robots to create this super cool PDF. So check it out when you have a few minutes. Root of the problem. See what, even robots got jokes nowadays. That's crazy. The solution, 4 core objectives of radial trenching. Create clear paths. That is true. Radially encourage radiating growth. Always want those roots to grow away from the trunk. Improve soil aeration. You and I need to breathe. So does your tree in the soil. And amend existing soil. Typically, when you've got a newly planted tree, that's often you're planting it in a toxic environment, meaning a compacted environment or not a healthy microbially rich environment. So adding that extra compost and organic matter really does. Lucas, this is high quality stuff, man. I haven't really even looked at this pretty close. Trench dimension specification. It wrote specifications for me. That's awesome. Low end, high end, yeah, 2 to 6 inches in diameter and, 2 to 4 inches in width and 6 to 8 inches in diameter. That's, man, dude, that's so cool. I love it. That's cool. Anyways, back to your questions, you guys. So Dan's asking, deer broke off this red maple. Should I cut the other 2 lower limbs to even it out? By the way, I'm fencing it now. Great. Yeah, keep those silly deer out. Deer actually chew on leaves, y'all. So sometimes some trees are actually a food source for them. So just so as you know, they love Yopon holly, by the way, down here in the south. Northeast Kansas. Yes, a couple other things, dude. You want to make sure you got the root flares exposed. Yeah, it looks like they just snapped it right off, and not a huge deal. But good job sawing it off. I do want you to go a little bit closer towards the trunk there. What you're looking for is just outside an area where it kind of bulges out. That's what we call meristematic tissue. In answer to your question about the other leaves, no, I would not remove them. What I would do is, let's go ahead and just do this, y'all. Copy image. We're going to go to paint. Okay, so what I would do is slightly different, man. I would move your pruning wound. Actually, hold on. Let me zoom in just a hair here. I want to get this really accurate. Not there. Home. Do red. What you're going to do approximately right here is where you want to finish that cut. That's going to be really important. And then let's go ahead and zoom out. What I would do on these is actually just remove this limb here and maybe this limb right here on the bottom. That's going to actually help. Oh, Justin, I'm going to get to your question here in just a second, dude. That's a great question. Yes, I love that question. So many pros to planting a 3-inch caliper tree. In fact, if you can get them to go to a 1/3 inch caliper tree, they'd be even better off. Just saying. That is what it is. Ask an arborist. Let's just title it AAA1. All right, so here's my answer to your question. Finally, Dan. No, I would not remove that. There we go. No, that's not what I want. Photo. You want to do this, and friends, don't let friends mulch volcano, y'all. One of these days, I'm actually going to do like a full video on how to plant a tree properly. I made one a while back, but I hate it. So I got to fix it. Yeah, friends don't let friends mulch volcano, bro. That's so bad. Take that mulch away from there. That's worse than the deer, in my humble opinion. That's right. Yeah, totally. I'm assuming our answers will be very similar. Since you taught me most of everything, I didn't teach you most of everything, dude. You went off and ran your own thing. You learned a lot on the way out too. I could tell you kept doing your research, kept talking to the industry, but I'll take that as a compliment. I also know you're sarcastic in saying that, so well played, touche. I'll get you back one of these days. Had a client, I was so humble. I surely did teach you everything. And if you're going to be like that, I taught you everything you know. I want 10% for life. There's another inside joke for you. Love you, dude. All right, much better. Okay, so 3-inch caliper tree versus 6-inch caliper tree. Here's the problem with 6-inch caliper trees. They've had a lot of time to get totally screwed up at the nursery. Check it out. This is one you need to know, Justin. I'm almost there, y'all. Just hi, back in my hidey hole. So, Justin, you already know these things, but you and I know ANSI A300 are our go-to standards. Bada bing, bada boom. This is actually awesome because they finally, after all these years, every single one of these chapters in here was a separate ANSI A300 standard for most of my career. And then some brilliant person in 2023 decided we need to codify them and put them into one book. And so they compiled it all. I think it was November 2023. They put this all together and I was stoked. I know, tree nerd, big old tree nerd, dude. These are the other are safety standards. These, as an arborist, all you tree guys need to know. This keeps you alive. Very important too. This is the nursery stock standards, ANSI Z60.1. I don't know, except for one, a nursery up actually north of you, Justin. I think they're in Prosper or Salina, one of the two. Or keep going, maybe. But these, they're the only guys, tree-land.com. Bob up there he's a good guy. But other than that, I've never known any nursery that will follow these to a T and to a letter. They just won't. Tree guys don't care. Nursery guys don't care. What they're looking for is volume. In fact, I had beef with one of the nurseries up in Dallas because they just would not do it right. What's up, Way of the Arborist? Great to have you here, dude. We're talking standards, man. You'll probably appreciate this conversation. So Justin asked the question. I had a client ask me a very interesting question. What are the pros versus cons of planting 3-inch caliper tree versus, I need to know that, Michael. 3-inch caliper tree versus 6-inch caliper tree. I always recommend if you can get a sprig, just put it in the ground, like a tiny little twig, maybe 12 inches or 18 inches, stick it in the ground. It's going to have a much easier time of getting established. The younger they are, and the they're more resilient. They just have less energy requirements than a big tree. So when you get that big tree, that $5,000, $10,000 6-inch caliper, ready to go tree, you stick it in the ground. It just went from an ideal condition at the nursery where they're getting watered every day and draining appropriately every day. They're getting extra resources. Then you take that big tree, you put it in. They still have their innocence. It's not that kind of group, dog. They basically get established much easier. So when they've been at the nursery, they are going to mess them up, meaning they're probably not going to do everything right. And then you get a tree that's had a longer time to get messed up. So the sooner you put it in the ground, the easier it is for the tree to get established. Smaller planting stock experiences, less shock. Dr. Todd Watson out of Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. He's just with Texas A&M, but he did that after about 4 to 5 years, the 7 or 15 gallon was equal to 45 to 65 gallon and healthier overall since less girdling, etc. That's exactly right. And I didn't know that Dr. Watson did a research study on that. That's fantastic. I've got other studies that I've read in the past, but I did not know that he did one in person. So that's right here in Texas, right here in our backyard. So hope that answers your question, Justin. But yeah, man, that's you're absolutely right. They still got their innocence, man. Don't mess them up in the nursery. They're gonna grape them, I think. He presented at ISA Texas like 6 years ago. That's so cool. I missed that one because I was in New Jersey. Yeah, I was in Jersey in 2019. Actually, we were in New Jersey in 2020. We took a contract in California because we weren't essential in New Jersey. We were in California. Plain and simple. My family wants to eat. All right, moving on. So William Joseph's asking, should I cut these little sucklings off the bottom of my river birch? It is about 1 year old. Thanks. No, I wouldn't. That may be the healthiest tissue on your tree, and every single one of those leaves is like a food factory for the tree. The longer you can leave them on, the better. I love this. Lou or Cola. Yes, cut them off now. No problem. Define that, man. I'm not trying to blast you guys, but you can. But you do know the main tree is unalived, in my humble opinion. That's what I was wondering: is how much is the main tree? How well is it doing? That may be your only living tissue. The other thing, guys, I really got to do that YouTube video. Let's see if I got one. How to plant. new. That's a good one. Yeah, I can recommend that one for sure. Extra solar panels. Yes, sir. Yeah, no, Way of the Arborist got a really good point there, buddy. Who are you? William. Yeah, William. Follow this Way of the Arborist. He knows what he's talking about. Each one of those leaves, the green parts is a food factory for the tree. Very important. And so the longer you can keep them on, the more that they're going to produce for the tree. I was there, Michael. Great presentation. That's too funny. Yeah, I was in New Jersey, you guys. I'm sorry I missed y'all. So yeah, the longer you can leave those on. The other thing is you got a really stressed tree. That was a poorly planted tree. Now, fortunately, it looks tiny, so you're probably okay. Make sure you expose those root flares. That's very important. Get the root flares unburied, just like we were talking here. You want to make sure that you've got the root flares exposed. Very important. And then if you can, train a primary tree. Leave those on. Right now you're dealing with these, but what you really want to do is expose that. Make sure to do that radial trenching so you get the roots coming out a little bit better. And then, yeah, say your prayers. Also, don't overwater. Most people overwater their new trees. In my humble experience. Part of my job, by the way, as an arborist is like part-time counselor / therapist / mediator. I just got an email from a client. All right, William, hope that helps, man. And yeah, you can, but you do know the main tree is unalive, in my humble opinion. I haven't seen that yet. Oh, and you can do the scratch test. That's a good one too. Check that out, because that's going to help you determine whether that portion of the tree is unalived or alived. Yes, cut them off now. No problem. What do you mean by that? That's my question. Okay, here's a question. That looks like a laurel oak. I know about laurel oaks. They're gross. All right, so how do I maintain this oak tree? My wife bought this tree as a twig, and it has been doing great. Do I trim the lower branches? Is it too full? Just a homeowner with a tree we like. I like that. Way to go, homeowner with the tree you like. Way to be proactive, too, about making sure you're doing the right care methodology. So I'm going to show you this this website. It's treesaregood.com. This is one of my favorite resources. It's actually produced by the International Society of Arboriculture. This is one of the better things that they do. Oh, come on, Dale Winner. I would consult an arborist. That's what we are. You're too late. So have them come and take a look at it. They can guide you to pruning plan or do the work. It's hard to gauge what needs to be done by this picture. I agree. Some more pictures would be helpful. Let's see, treesaregood.com. If you go on to tree owner resources, you can see pruning your trees, and you can see pruning young trees right here, dude. So if you go to this PDF, I'll see if I can link it. It didn't work last time, but that's a really great resource. Oops. This is where we'll want that. But I give you the main website, treesaregood.org, because there are a plethora of resources for you as a homeowner. And Justin knows how I feel about this. For me to talk highly of something the ISA did is like a miracle in and of itself. I mean, like almost no joke. I love what I do. I do not like my industry. I think more guys in my industry need to read a book and go to the ISA events like this, both on the professional and on the residential side of things, or the tree owner side of things. The problem is they do a pretty good job of teaching the professional. They don't do a great job of teaching the individual, but they do have this wonderful website called treesaregood.org. One day I would like to make my own version so I don't have to keep sending them to them. But we'll figure that out. Anyways, hope that helps, buddy. We're moving on. Jeff is asking, I planted this maple about 6 years ago. To my knowledge, it has never been injured, but this is what it's doing. Is it worth letting it grow, or should I remove and plant a new tree? Okay, so here's what you're seeing here. I just did a video on this yesterday. I posted it last night, in fact. So this is an example of kind of what you're looking at. What you're going to need to do is expose that unalived tissue. So when you say The tree owner's manual is pretty awesome. Justin, I gotta let you know, man, that's a conflict of interest around here. Check it out. Check it out. Where is it? This way. What's up, y'all? So mine's bigger. Let's just put it that way. This is theirs. Mine is 180 pages right now without the pictures and diagrams and all that. So, excuse me, 126. I think it's going to be around 180 when I'm all said and done with it. It'll basically be like a tableside book of everything you need to know, whether it's planting a tree, taking care of a majestic live oak or whatever, mature tree, all the way up to like property. Who owns that tree? Property disputes. What happens if the tree falls on your house? How do you deal with insurance coming after you to get your trees removed away from the house when your municipality says you can't? Things like that are things that I thought were imperative to go over that people just don't know. So I made my own tree owner's manual. It's called, because theirs is just a tree owner's manual. Mine's a complete guide to owning a tree. Complete. Just let's get that straight, all right? So, no, but actually, tree owner's manual is a great resource. So until mine comes out, y'all, go get the tree owner's manual. You can just look it up. Look up tree owner's manual. It's there's a PDF for free. Like I said, I think U.S. Forest Service actually had that one out there. So Kelly's asking, what would you do as next step? This is a white oak. I love white oaks. 20 inch plus DBH. Example, you can already tell it's fall potential, so removed and why needed fungicide, needs further excavation. I don't know what that means. We're gonna try to answer anyways. I'm pretty sure this is honey fungus. Oh no. I have ID'd the mushroom and I can see some white fungus in the bark. I added comments to each pictures. Thank you. Well done, Kelly. By the way, Kelly, you are like, well done. You're setting the stage here. This is how I need you guys to ask questions. We need you to post a lot of pictures, give me a lot of research, like history. What happened? What's your experience with the tree? When did this start? What did you notice? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Put together almost like, don't send me this much information, make it kind of simple, but put together almost like a court case. You got to tell a story with what is going on with this tree. By the way, awesome self plug. Michael is going to be joining me next Thursday. He's going to be helping to host this updated your question with great stuff. That's awesome. Yes. So Michael's actually going to be my guest arborist on Thursday. He's going to come play trees with me and talk trees. And we were talking about like, what's the best thing that we can start? So he's my first guest on here. And yeah, right. Tree detective. That's what we do. We do forensics. So Michael and I are going to be talking about what do we need from you guys this Thursday? That's right. At 4:00. We're going to be going over basically like, what do we need from you guys for us to effectively answer your tree questions? That really helps a lot. My beautiful bride has been on here on a number of times, and we've got a pin post right at the top here. Let me get to it. And hello, internet. My son must be playing games again. Welcome, everyone. Please read before posting. So I don't know. I'm not a prophet. I can't read y'all's minds, but I don't think all y'all read this, even though it says, please read before posting. What are you thinking, guys? Anyways, Kelly, I'm sorry. We're getting distracted. Back to your question. Obvious wound. So she's got this decayed portion right here. Very good, Kelly. I love it. Overall, tree looks healthy to me. Yes. Very important. Tree structure and tree health are often connected, but often they can be mutually exclusive as well. So you've got a structural tree that's unhealthy, it unalives, now you have nothing. You've got a healthy tree that's structurally decrepit, it falls down, now you got nothing. Or worse, now you could have a tree in your house or on your car or whatever. So when I'm looking at a tree, I look at two primary things: structure and health. So it does look healthy. Great addition, but that doesn't mean it's structurally sound or safe for your family. So let's keep going. Oh man, that's a gorgeous tree. That is a beautiful tree. I love that. And great job, by the way, getting rid of those girdling roots. It looks like that may have been what you were going for, but basically root flare isn't evident on this side. So it looks like you've snipped a few roots here and there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this one needs to go as well. By the way, y'all, girdling roots actually can completely unalive large portions of trunk tissue. And so I'll just give you another one. Girdling. So yeah, girdling roots are just such a big problem. I see like mechanical, simple things that come from the nursery, problems that come from the nursery, unalive trees years and years down the road, more so than I see like, I don't know, fungus, bugs, whatever. I see more mechanical and what we call it abiotic stressors. So like compacted soil, girdling roots, herbicide damage, etc. All of those things I see more frequently on live trees than I do the pests. Everybody's worried about what bug and fungus is attacking the tree. I had a really great mentor from 2008 to 2010, a guy by the name of Rick Zampino. And he was, at the time, one of the first registered consulting arborists. I think he was like the 8th BCMA in the world or something like that, he said. His number is like, 0012 or something like that, ISA TX-0012. So that's pretty funny. But I had no idea I'm working for this living legend. But he used to tell us idiot kids, I was like 20 something at the time. He used to tell us, he'd say, all these idiot tree guys are looking up in the tree to figure out what bug or fungus is eating it, man. 90% of problems start in the roots every time. And he was right. So I see you had some root issues here, Kelly. I really think that, I think you're doing it right. Where I excavated, brilliant. Oops. Yeah, I think that's brilliant work. Good. Yes, I love this. Okay. What is that? About 4 to 6 inch cavity on one side after excavation. Kelly, that root flare excavation is sublime. That is perfect. I love that. Now what we need to do is we need to figure out, is that tree structurally sound? And can we mitigate it if it's not? This is one of those, again, we are going to have to take a closer look. I am happy to do a tree risk assessment on the tree for you and put that into, codify that into like a little mini report. I don't think it needs to be removed yet. I don't have enough evidence to say that this tree is condemned and it needs to come down immediately. I just don't see that. What I do see is you've had some history with this tree. Now, maybe what we can do is we can reduce some leverage in the canopy. We can bring the canopy height down. What's up, Sprout? Great to see you, buddy. Hey, I checked out a couple of your videos today, man. I'm impressed, dude. Well done. And I love that you're getting rid of that Siberian elm too. I saw that one. That was awesome. But Sprouting Arborist, by the way, he's for Michael and Justin. Michael, you know him, Justin and Way the Arborist. He's our future generation. So y'all, if you want to help teach him, show him the ropes, literally. Yeah, he's a good dude, and he's like, I think you're still in high school, right? But man, you're just like, like way more than I did the first 3 years of my industry, for my career in tree care. So keep it up, man. You're gonna go far in this industry, and I'd love to see and help if I can. Girdling roots. Sorry, Kelly Faye, my bad. All right, so what we want to look for is we want to sound the wood, and we want to tell if that tree is going to be such a problem where you need to get rid of it immediately. This is going to tell you a lot. Get shareable link. Here we go. Yeah, so you've got some girdling roots, Kelly. You've got some kind of obvious decay issues on the trunk. I don't know. Yeah, Justin's a great guy too. Sprout, y'all connect. He's another certified arborist, or I don't know if you maintained it, but I know at least you were and you know your stuff. So I'll vouch for you all day long, buddy. All right, so that is that, Kelly. Where are you at? That's the next question. I don't know. Georgia. Okay. Feel free to send me a direct message, Kelly, and I'll connect you with some really great arborists out in Georgia. Georgia Arborist Association is one of the best arborists, like local chapters of the ISA that exists. In my humble opinion, they do a great job. There's some great people there, and across the way in Florida as well. So you got some really great arborists in the area. I'm happy to take a look at it though and spec out the work so that you can hire anyone and they can go and make the cuts that I prescribe. So let me know if I can help. Thanks for the question, Kelly. All right, so we got a short video. Oh, by the way, honey mushroom is armillaria, Kelly. It is indeed a it's a basidiomycete, so that's not good. Basidiomycetes are the bad guys. Saprophytes, those are the good guys. What is that, a ficus? Lucas, did you see what kind of tree that was? Yeah. Oh. Banyan. Wow, that's got to be a ficus. Banyan, maybe. Ficus. That's what I was thinking. Way the arborist. Look at those aerial roots. That's so cool. I love trees, you guys. I like people more. Yeah. Okay, so here's my thoughts on that tree. Beatrice. Thank you, Ryan. I'm trying to get an arborist to come by. Anyone know one that is reliable in Miami? I actually do, but I can't just give that to you. I need you to message me. Treesaregood.org. All the people on this list have credentials. That does not mean, by the way, that they're good at what they do just because they have credentials. I know a lot of arborists that I would not trust with my life, much less my tree's life. So just word of caution. Oh, you know what? We did a video on that too, like 7 questions you can ask to how to choose the right arborist. 7 questions that expose fake arborists. Hope none of y'all are on this list. Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? Way the arborists is like there's so many bad arborists out there. Oh, later, Justin. Thanks for joining me, dude. That's really cool of you to do so. You'll see more of me. I love what you're doing. You're always rooting for you. Likewise, dude. Likewise, man. And I'll let you know next time I'm in Dallas. I think we're going to be up there here in the next month or two. Maybe we can connect and grab lunch. Later, dude. Thanks for joining me, buddy. All right. So yeah, the main thing with this Beatrice is you've got to make sure that it's got to be done right. So you got a lot of factors going on here. Massive tree. Oh yeah, shoot. Give the video a like, Justin. Thanks, Lucas. Good point. And y'all, by the way, if y'all don't mind, just go back there and click that like button. That would really help out a lot. Right on, dude. Looking forward to it, man. Okay, so Beatrice, you got a lot going on here. It's a big tree. Miami, those trees will do really well. Those ficuses. The tree has been topped several times over, it looks. Yeah, right on, dude. Likewise. Thanks, Justin. Love you too, bro. I don't see any reason that this has to be removed. What I might do is start to reduce the canopy height on some of those sprouts that came off of that main. Yeah. Rotting here, as you can see. Yeah, so you definitely want to make sure that one we're going to have to take a closer look at. But I don't think the tree, I get same thing. I don't think that just what we're looking at just warrants that it needs to come down. I think what we need to do is take a closer look at it, start identifying areas where the canopy can be reduced. There's loads of research out there that show that when you reduce canopy height, you actually reduce the likelihood of structural failure too. Let me give you one other video just to kind of prove that fact. This was one I pulled from a guy named Dr. Ed Gelman, had some research out of University of Florida, not far from you, in fact, Beatrice. And he showed that, watch that video. You'll really appreciate that, I think. But he wrote this cool book, and this is like, I don't want to say the Bible because that's blasphemy. Nobody can write a Bible, but this is like the go-to resource for structural pruning and structural integrity of trees when it comes to taking care of them. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, Sprout. I was wondering if they had removed the limb over the roof, but then I looked at it a little closer, and I think most of the canopy has been topped. So that may have been a private decision too. Although in Florida, we're having a real big issue with insurance companies canceling policies. And that's why I made this video over here saying, where is it? If I can find it. Help, insurance trying to cancel my policy. Where are all my videos at? Who owns that tree? When utility companies fail. Expert fall tree care. Fight for the tree's survival continues. Where is that video? Did I delete it? That's weird. Yeah, I'm happy to get on a digital arborist consultation, really take a closer look at it. Maybe we can see what the right answer is. So anyways, I got just a few more minutes, so I'm going to move on. Beatrice, let me know if I can help. Stephen Mace is asking, how long should I wait to plant an avocado tree? I started from a seed. It's a big Ecuadorian one. Right now, it's about 1 year old in a pot outside. Never been outside during the winter. I don't know, to be honest, but I think I would. Where are you at, first of all? Pick community college. I don't know where that is. I'm assuming somewhere tropical, right? That's my major assumption here. Tell me if I'm wrong, Stephen. But if you're in a tropical area, you want to make sure the first couple of years you get what's called heater tape, and you don't want to baby these guys too much. So when it just gets kind of chilly, then maybe you're fine. Oh, that's what I need. Amazon. But I would wait probably another year to 2 years. Unfortunately, Sprout, no, it's not illegal. So it's a big problem. We've got, where is it? Just look up heater tape on Amazon. You'll find it. But what you could do is let it deal with some of the elements. You don't want to baby this tree too much once you get it started. What you want to do is wean it off of wean it out of the wheelchair, if you will. Like, don't just throw it and make it run a marathon. You want to slowly get it walking, slowly get it moving. So when it gets super cold, wrap it around with this heater tape. If it gets below like 35 to 40, probably I would do it maybe 40 the first year, 35 the next year. If it gets below that, avocados are extremely tropical. They do not tolerate heat at all. Keep that heater tape around for the occasion when it drops below 0 after that. Of course, all that's going to depend on where you're at too. Are you in south tip of Florida? Are you in New York? If you're in New York, don't ever plant that, just keep it in a pot, bring it inside when you can. But I would definitely not plant it. If you're in a colder climate, I would keep it in a pot for as long as you can. Obviously, that's going to stunt it, but think of a bonsai tree. Some of those trees live for hundreds of years old. So treat it right. It'll do the same. All right. Zhang's asking, Chi-Chi or wood bulge? I don't know what Chi-Chi is. Woody bulge on ancient ginkgo is not diseased. Dr. Giovanni Morelli considers it as a form of cambium column. That's cool. They're both aerial Chi-Chi and basal Chi-Chi. What are you talking about, Chi-Chi? Where are you from? Las Vegas, Nevada. I don't know what that means. Chi-Chi. Anybody? Maybe talking about the type of tree. I don't know. Bueller. No, it's a ginkgo. Yeah, the 1,000-year-old bonsai tree. Yeah, yeah. You can put trees in a pot and keep them for the rest of their lives or yours. Um, that's fine. And in answer to your question, Sprout, no, it's actually not. They have really well paid attorneys and legal counsel and a really well paid lobbyist too. So he's asking. It seems kind of illegal to have a company or HOA tell you you have to do something or you'll get a fine or something like that. Am I wrong? No, because the HOA actually has jurisdiction. So if they have like a bylaw, let's say, that says you cannot have a ginkgo tree, for example, or a poplar tree, they can absolutely tell you what to do. They can tell you you can't plant that tree. If they have a list of 10 different trees and all of them suck, they can tell you. And that's their planting list. And their bylaws state that you have to plant a tree within that list, and they all suck. You have to plant them within that list. Now, that doesn't mean you can't ask for a variance. You can always send them a letter and say, hey, I really like what we're doing here, keeping everything consistent, but my grandmother gave me this tree. I really want to plant, or whatever. Make up whatever excuse you need to. But yeah, sometimes though they're punks. HOAs are punks. Cities can be punks, but you know who's worse out of all of them? The insurance companies. Also, I'm trying not to bury myself when I say that because I work for a lot of insurance companies doing reporting and things like that. So it's not personal, you guys. If you're watching, you're like, hey, he don't like the insurance guys. No, I don't like some of the practices that y'all have. And I think there's a better solution. And a lot of us are actually working on that actively as we speak. We actually formed a committee in ASCA just recently about ginkgo biloba chichi. Chichi is a type of tree. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. Thank you, Way of the Arborist. I appreciate you. Yeah, Lucas was right. I'm sorry, dude. My bad. Lucas is right. I'm wrong. He stumped the arborist.
I didn't say you had to say you're wrong. I was just saying I said that.
Could be a variance. Yeah, it could be a variety. Yeah, dioecious. They're dioecious, and you can plant a male cottonwood tree. The problem with that, Sprout, is in Dallas, actually, where I grew up, or the big city outside. I grew up in the suburbs, but in Dallas, it was actually illegal to plant cottonwoods because of that very thing. If you get a female one, you're going to have flowers that rain on everybody's AC system, break everybody's pool filters, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, they have to protect themselves. Insurance look at you swinging on both sides of the fence here, Michael. Yes, more is needed to give proper care, more insurance leeway. Yes, I think that insurance companies should have a right to say, hey, I don't like that tree over your house. You need to mitigate it. What I don't like them saying is you have to cut it off at the house line, because that actually makes the situation worse. And we were just talking about that. There's actually Georgia Arborist Association we were discussing earlier, put out a blanket statement for use in anybody who wants to use it, basically saying that by doing these things, then you're actually setting the tree up for more failure later on. It may protect the insurance companies now by hacking it off at the roof, but 5-10 years down the road, they're going to be more liable. So I understand where they're coming from, Michael. I believe me, I do. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And the heart of the USA has been sold. Yep, the American dream, I think, is what you're talking about. Our viability is based on quarterly earnings, not longevity or duty of care to citizens. Except as arborists, you're not certified arborist, Michael. I am. I have an ethics agreement that's
Delay, so I don't know.
no, I think I'm sorry, guys. I lost you there for a second. I'm getting it back up. Hold up. What's up, guys? No. Okay, so I'm unaware of this actually. This is so cool because I love learning things. I'm learning things. That is so cool, Zhang. I'm sorry if I came off offensively. I didn't know what she.
In a medical thing about humans called testicular cancer.
That's not what this is. Seeing Chi-Chi, the woody bulge on an old ginkgo. We're not talking about Chi-Chi nipples are pressed in Japan. Okay, I'm seeing the history here a little bit. The classic cultivar for ginkgo bonsai. The wood anatomy of Chi-Chi totally confirms that ginkgo is similar to modern conifers. Yeah, that's actually true. Chi-Chi is completely normal. Dr. Peter Barlow studied it and had a paper in 2009. The Higuchi paper in 2023 is also a fun read when enjoy tea in the beautiful fall. That's so cool. I love it. Ginkgo trees are such cool trees. I don't believe in millions of or billions or whatever of years. I think there's no evidence for that, and I don't think anybody was there to tell us. But I do think God had an awesome design plan, and he did some really cool things. And I think copy and paste was a lot of those. Ginkgos act like conifers in many ways. That does not mean they are, though. They still are hardwoods. All right, Homelight Harry is looking for tree work. Lots of experience, can provide own gear, ready to work. Hey, you missed the needles sticking out of the arm. That's the only thing, or the little white powder under the nose. I'm sorry. We're moving on from that nonsense. The missing teeth. Yeah, why does he have all his teeth? That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, no, it's by the way,
our debacle that we were going through with that one crazy guy.
Doesn't happen to be a Polish guy. Michael, that was awesome. Dude, I love that. I'm not gonna go further than that. We're gonna keep this professional, but that is hilarious. Well done. All right, Josh McCleary. I have a hackberry and the top looks to be splitting. Is it worth keeping? Yes, but it depends on a lot of things. I think Guy has the right answer here. It depends. It depends. Ooh, better context. Thank you, context. Thank you, Joshua. That's great. Man, they trimmed way too much on that tree. Whoever did that, that's crazy. That's lion's tail. Friends don't let friends lion's tail.
No, friends don't let friends hire people that lion's tail.
Yeah, friends don't let friends. There we go. Yeah, don't hire those guys. Leave Homelight Harry to take care of the shrubs down the street. Copy. Shoot, I just exited out. I gotta get back to it.
Oh, there goes an hour's worth of work.
Oh, whatever.
Waka waka.
Waka waka. And we still scrolling. Maybe. Yeah. We still scrolling. They see me scrolling. That's all I'm just gonna leave that right there. Yeah, friends don't let friends lion's tail. You got a lion's tail situation here. What else? Causes limb failure. Okay. You can do, by the way, you can actually do lion's tailing to individual limbs. Yeah. It needs a reduction prune. Unfortunately, all of the reduction pruning wood that would have been left to is gone. So what you're looking at here is, my goodness, y'all. Don't mess with me, YouTube, Facebook, whoever you are. There we go. Yeah, poor pruning causes storm damage to trees. Discover the dangers of lion's tail pruning. So I don't know if that was pruned or not. Let me see if I can decipher a little bit more through the conversation y'all had. Looks all but the top is it lost. Oh man, that stinks. In a storm, it cleaned up nicely, but just seems to be a twig. Yeah. And that's funny. Thank you, Justin. I'll take that as a compliment, buddy. It lost all but the top in a storm. It cleaned up nice, but now it's just a twig. Oh, that stinks. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to accuse you of lion's tail pruning. That's dirty. A giraffe pruned that tree. Hideous lion's tail job. Yep. It was in a derecho and had a few large trees fall into it. It stinks. When damaged branches get cut back just behind the break, they continue growing. Stubs are not always bad. I agree. Actually, there's new research. All you arborists, you don't always have to prune it back to the trunk. Sometimes it's better to leave the stub. You got to play it by ear. Look at the whole perspective. Is the tree healthy? Is it thriving and vitality rich, or is it struggling? You want good vigor, good vitality, and a lot of those pruning wounds will actually, they'll ram's horn in there, and that's actually not a bad thing. Sometimes those stubs cut it just behind where the break is, so it's a little cleaner, less surface area, and the tree can start sprouting there and forming a new canopy. You do want to manage that, though. This is a tree that's going to be on life support, if you will, and you're going to have to make sure that it gets guided along in its structure, because it's not going to grow right on its own after that point. So cutting back to the trunk prevents growth and leaves the line cell tree that we see. Now the top needs reduction by a man or a machine fit for the job. I agree with everything you're saying, dude. Yeah, guy's a phenomenal arborist, by the way. We had to talk a little bit about some things that were being said, but he's a great arborist. And Guy, I'm really glad to have you back in here, man. And you like professional amongst professionals, and let's just keep it that way. And we're cool, man. Love having you in here. Very wise, very experienced, and yeah, man. Thanks for the solid advice here. All right, we're moving on. Let's do one more, and we're gonna call it for the day. All right, Grant is asking, I'd appreciate advice about our spruce. We were told last year by an arborist that this is normal dial on a live off. Excuse me. Can't see much of it from the ground, but from upstairs, it worries me. Yeah, that's mostly interior. I do see rocks piled up against the trunk. Let's take a closer look real quick. See? Yeah, a lot of healing compounds in the callus wood. Yeah. Yeah, both for humans and the tree, by the way. I wouldn't eat the tannins, though, personally. Those are poison. There's been any soil disruption, sidewalk path great around the tree in the area. This tree is clearly in a weakened state. I would suggest there may be a root problem. That's what I was wondering. Yeah, pull the stones away from the base. Very important. What you got? We bought the house in summer 2024. There was a lot to do on the house. 1903 build, as neglected as the garden. Before the winter, we removed all the fabric, even plastic that was laid down. Wow, around the front yard and covered in bark and gravel. We know that fabric is bad for tree roots. We had a hot summer and so drip irrigated the tree until just a few weeks ago when our wet weather started. The rocks are spaced apart. There was nothing there before, but the fabric covering. I will say that mulch rings are better. So you're better off just doing pure mulch. Oh, where are you from? Alberta. What's up, buddy? What's up, my Canadian neighbor? Correct. That's not normal. A tree needs some foliar fungicide applications and some mite sprays. We don't know that. Okay, so you're in Canada. You're going to have to look up Royal Canadian. Who manages the agriculture in Alberta? Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation, headed by Minister R.J. Sigurdsson. I would reach out to them, find out who they want you to send the samples to. I think you might have some sort of a rust or some sort of a what is that? No, I really don't like you, Facebook. Stop that. I would send them a tissue sample and see. Yeah. This is the last one, though. Having them diagnose looks possibly fungal to me, but I could be wrong. That could also be like a general stress issue. So we're just going to have to figure it out. The first thing, prescription without diagnosis is what? Malpractice. Don't prescribe things, arborists, without confirmation and lab diagnosis. However, as some general rules, it's a very good idea to add compost, add mulch. There's some general principles we absolutely can diagnose online here, which is exactly what we do over here on the World Wide Webs of the internet at arboristondemand.com. Essentially, we are a digital arborist consulting firm. No matter where you're at, we can help take a look at your trees, figure out what's going on with them, and get you pointed in the right direction. Because quite frankly, trees are important to us, are they not, you guys? We love the trees. that we live under and around, and they are wonderful additions to our lives. They provide health benefits, they provide mental health benefits, they provide property value, they provide ecological benefits, they provide water and storm runoff benefit. There's so many benefits that trees provide in our lives. Crime rates in major metropolitan cities, multiple studies have shown crime rates go down whenever you've got big trees in the area that are well maintained, especially. But even still, crime rates go down. Crime rates will go up when you get rid of those trees and you have worse trees. There's like new trees is the other word for that. And so, y'all, if you ever need a digital arborist consultation, a closer look, a second opinion, we love helping guys like you out. We also just started up a program. We call it the Pro Arborist Partner Program. So the PAP, Pro Arborist Partner Program. Essentially, it's a monthly program where professionals that are in landscaping, irrigation, construction, even other tree guys. We just signed up another client out of Wisconsin that is they're a tree company, but to get into some of the contracts that they need to get into, they need an arborist on staff. So I am their tree whore, if you will. Can I say that on Facebook, Lucas? Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm their rent and arborist. And so we do that with people all over the US and hopefully one day all over the world on that. We do digital arborist consultations all over the world. I got a couple cases going on, legal cases going on in Canada. And so I actually had to learn how things are done in Canada, but we can help you just about wherever you are. And so it's real simple. Hit us up on the web at arboristondemand.com. Click any of the buttons. That'll guide you to maybe a few forms to fill out, just telling us a little bit about the problems. And you can schedule it right there at your convenience. Get a real, like, serious arborist opinion. And it's funny, too, because the guy that we had to kick, we were talking about at the beginning of this, he was talking about them real arborists. And then I went to look him up and he wasn't certified.
The image, some guy just had on his profile some selfies and he's like, what arborist takes selfies of himself? He hadn't climbed it.
You're not a real arborist. Like, dude, I looked you up, man. Neither are you. So get off it. But that's the attitude a lot of these tree guys have. Y'all do better. I know we got a lot of arborists hanging out with us and love you guys. Thanks for being here. Keep learning, keep growing. If a tree's not growing, it is unaliving. That's right. So you do the same. People are very similar. Again, God used copy and pasted creations. So thanks again for joining us, you guys. Again, be here Thursday. Michael and I are going to talk about how to best post your pictures. And y'all, just so glad to have you part of this group. Love you guys, and we'll see you next time.